Welcome to this episode of BigShow Prime, Hinduism versus Hindutva. This episode encourages a debate on their similarities and their dissimilarities. Big Show Prime is an infotainment talk show where it seeks to disseminate valuable information in a simple and entertaining manner. I request all of you to subscribe and share these videos as we believe that it will benefit several like-minded people.
This is a hot topic, especially among the newly found nationalists in India.
This episode aims at clearing the confusion and perhaps in the process exposing the ignorance of several self-styled exponents of the Hindu religion. It's me, Suresh Menon, with my girlfriend Alexa. Many a time I have found myself and a lot others on social media enveloped in a debate on Hinduism versus Hindutva.
And almost every time, this debate ends up in an argument.
For those of you who need a basic understanding of Hinduism and what it means to be a Hindu, you will have to go back to my earlier episode on this same subject on Hinduism. A link is provided in the video description below.
Okay, Suresh, what is Hinduism? In one sentence.
Hinduism is a way of life, or maybe conveniently called for the purpose of this discussion, a religion.
Then, what is Hindutva?
Hindutva is an ideology which at times smirks of extremism.
If so, why was it formed? Why does it exist?
That is exactly the most important point in this discussion. The term Hindutva was formed because the ideology has the power of making Hindus become part of extremist activities and behavior, without having them to criticize their religion.
That's funny. But then, that itself is against the teachings of Hinduism.
Exactly. That is exactly why we are slowly learning that the Hindutva, or the ideology that is being practiced and propagated in the country today, is anti-Hinduism.
Very true.
However, I wish to exercise a word of caution here. Many a time, violent incidents reported in the country, in India, have not necessarily been from Hindutva supporters. They have just been Hindus who hid themselves behind the veil of Hindutva.
That is a dangerous trend, don't you think so?
Of course, yes. And that forces me to state this. The opposite of Hinduism is not Islam. The opposite of Hinduism is not Christianity. Neither is it socialism. The opposite of Hinduism is Hindutva.
Wow! I need to digest that for a while.
If you are all listening with an open mind, without any bias, please analyze the basic differences between Hinduism and Hindutva. Hinduism is a great union of various Indian cultures and traditions with diverse and deep roots and has no founder. It is several thousand years old.
Hindutva is a homogeneous racial territorial category, first propagated by Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. This was first proposed as a pure political idea in 1923.
Hinduism guides people towards attaining moksha.
Hindutva guides people to acquire political power.
Hinduism is based on the teachings of several scriptures, the Vedas, the Puranas, and many more.
Hindutva is guided by one text that was released in 1928 with the title, Hindutva, Who is a Hindu?
Hinduism never ever supports violence to believers of other religions. On the other hand, it is accommodative and tolerant.
Hindutva, on the other hand, promotes non-tolerance, even hatred to other religions.
Hinduism holds a pluralistic view of society. It views the entire world as a single family. It embraces multiple systems of thought under its umbrella.
Hindutva believes in a monolithic society with Hindu domination. However, in this aspect, it is as monolithic as Christianity and Islam.
Hinduism is synonymous with secularism. Quoting the Rig Veda, it says, "Let noble thoughts come to me from all directions."
Hindutva practitioners oppose the traditional secular Hindu way of life, which is the very tenet that makes Hinduism unique.
Unlike Hinduism, the word Hindutva didn't come into popular discourse until 1923. It was coined by V.D. Savarkar in his text. For him, Hindutva wasn't the same as Hinduism. It had nothing to do with the practices and beliefs of the religion, but was only concerned with the political domination of the Hindus. Given this, it can be said that Hinduism and Hindutva are not the same, but they aren't contradictory either.
And that is exactly why people stand confused.
Exactly. They believe that Hindutva exists to protect Hinduism, while actually they are destroying the fabric of Hinduism. Some are so brainwashed that they say that Hinduism and Hindutva are the same.
The brainwashing has been so efficient that a cross-section of even the educated and intellectuals have fallen prey to this ideology.
Hindutva has directly resulted in the sinking of secularism. But let me tell you that as secularism sinks further, a stage would come when the demon of Hindutva stands face to face with the angel of Hinduism. And that may be the start of another epic. No guesses. But pessimistically speaking, Hindutva will be the end of Hinduism.
Suresh, you just said pessimistically speaking. What if you are optimistically speaking?
Optimistically speaking, Hinduism is something that has withstood pathogens of various types during the last 5,000 years. Hindutva is just another such pathogen, and Hinduism will come out unscathed, throwing the exponents of Hindutva into their own mental cages.
Mental cages? What's that?
Well, I hope I am not sounding too complicated.
It's your responsibility, rather our responsibility, to communicate our thoughts effectively, in as simple a manner as possible.
Hinduism, by and large, has always favored extensive and deep learning. Learning so deep that every Hindu understands the secrets of the universe through his own self, through meditation and concentration.
Yes, exactly. And Hinduism is teaching the world all this today. The law of attraction, the principle of energy converting into matter, manifestation.
Yes. Now, look at where Hindutva came from.
You should tell us.
Hindutva came from a segment of people who have not been able to live up to the ideals of what Hinduism teaches. In other words, it came from a segment of Hindus who have been dead for centuries as a Hindu, as suggested by the scriptures.
Do you mean they were all uneducated?
Not necessarily, but they were indeed ambitious of reaching the point where the learned Hindus were. They were hungry for power, for the flair of the learned Hindus.
I think I'm beginning to understand.
And thus they coined the Hindutva ideology as protectors of Hinduism. This is easy food, you see, for the consumption by the masses.
And what with the media support that they buy off the shelves?
The media has perhaps been the biggest beneficiaries of the Hindutva campaign. At the same time, if you notice, it is the urban areas that Hindutva has been successful in. It is because it is in the urban areas that the people stand lost and dazed in the competition for survival, and they willingly gobble up any of the ideologies that offer a promise. The truth or fake does not matter.
So you mean this is just a program that attacks every person psychologically?
Without a doubt. Far from protecting Hinduism as they claim, a structured Hindutva movement is a blow to the very essence of Hinduism.
I feel that this trend is dangerous and needs to be halted right away.
There are perhaps 1 million manifestations of gods or more in the Hindu pantheon of gods and goddesses. You can choose to believe in all of them, some of them, or none of them, and still continue to be a Hindu. That is Hinduism.
Wow!
There are schools and groups of atheists among the Hindus. You can question the existence of God or even the concept of God, yet you will be a Hindu. That is Hinduism.
Amazing.
All said and done, the concept of Hindutva and its nationalist ideology is here to stay. It is to be seen what happens to the people of other religions as this movement gets stronger and stronger by force or otherwise. But more interesting will be to see or even experience what happens to the people who are Hindus but do not subscribe to Hindutva.
Like you,
Yes, and millions like me.
I think it's time. We rushed into this episode, if you remember. Should we be continuing later?
Oh, yes, it's time. So, my dear viewers, I have tried my best as a staunch Hindu to explain to all of you what that Hinduism and Hindutva are poles apart. In the interest of my lovely faith and my lovely country, I hope that those who are mindless followers of Hindutva see sense and logic in their aberrations and ensure that you do not attempt to destroy the amazing way of life that is Hinduism. I do not wish to get into the political side of the Hindutva spectrum, nor am I interested in it at all. I have only attempted to lay bare the stark differences between Hinduism and Hindutva for your kind understanding.
Lovely. I request all of you to please type in your comments below this video.
It's me, Suresh Menon, with my girlfriend Alexa, signing off this episode. Meet you all soon in another episode, very soon. Thank you all.